come once again to discuss things.
Brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. Ring capacity 46.1, ring capacity 58.9, ring capacity 64.5, and now I'm charged and burning bright. Ring capacity 75, ring capacity 83.
Alright, hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Geeky. Gentlemen, I am Sid Part 2. Joining me today is Milan Jeff Dick 1992. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Indeed. I always have to give just a little bit of a pause to see if Milan's going to decide to say something insane. Luckily, this time, he did not. Anyway, so this week we are...
Thanks for reminding me, though. Thanks for reminding me. My walls are bleeding pudding, I think it is. Hold on. No, it's tapioca. My walls are
That is
bleeding
a type of pudding.
It's a type of pudding, yeah.
Okay, anyway. So this week we're continuing our Green Lantern series, reviewing the trades published during Geoff Johns' run of Green Lantern. And this time we are starting with the book that started off the old 52's new Green Lantern book. There's a weird sentence. Green Lantern No Fear is the trade that started out with Green Lantern #1. And I mean, I'm looking at the book right now. I got the trade in my hands. And man, Alex Ross, dude.
Bloody Ross.
Alex fucking Ross.
My God.
Like, I don't love what he does with, like, Green Lantern's costume, because it's clearly fabric. And it's funny because in this book, they have a whole scene devoted to the fact that it's not fabric.
And a girl's feeling him up. She's like, the green stuff is hot, and the black stuff is cold. And he's like...
Right. But, like, God, you cannot hate Alex Ross. It's just so damn... Like, dude, it's almost photorealistic,
It
you
is.
know?
It is. It's gorgeous. I mean, you know what Alex Ross reminds me of a lot? You know those Midwestern paintings of Jesus and like those pamphlets? And it's essentially that, but with superheroes. And like, you know those guys who just paint really good pictures of Jesus?
Yeah, I got you. That makes sense.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, and it's funny because Alex Ross kind of really does come from that tradition. He's a big Quaker lad. You know.
Yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and get started, though, in the story. So, Green Lantern No Fear opens up with my favorite Hal Jordan story. A really short part, a little short story that just kind of goes through Hal Jordan's life, before and just after he was Parallax. Or well before and then just after he was Parallax, called Flight. And that was originally in a Green Lantern Secret Origins and classified files thing. DC was releasing those for a couple years, where it was just like little bios of all the different characters that were constantly appearing, and there'd be a couple really short stories, and Flight was one of them. And I just love it so much.
I know. The art is it by David? He did like for The New Frontier. What's it called again? David
Justice League New Frontier.
Yeah.
I don't know who the artist is on this one. Darwin Cook, Simon Ganacci, Ethan Von Schiever, Carlos Pacino, and I probably just pronounced all of their names incorrectly, and I'm sorry.
Darwin Cook, that's the one. This is one of my favorite. Like, I've read this thing, and I'm like, oh, cool, this art style is going to be for the whole of the book. And then,
Nope,
and it wasn't, and I'm like, oh, that's right, this isn't an event comic. But still, like, the other artists did a fantastic job, but this, what a way to fucking start out a book. I mean, for God's sake.
I just love it. I mean, like, I'm not a huge fan of the art. There's one particular panel where Carol is handing the money to the security guard guy, where her eyes just look really wonky. I mean, I don't love the art in this. It's okay, though.
Yeah.
I just love the story in it. It's absolutely fantastic.
Like this first little
it's just so simple, and I just love how well it gives Hal Jordan a character, because that's like the major complaint he's received is this guy has no character. He's totally flat, and like Geoff Johns has a really good voice for him.
Yeah, I mean it's so good because he kind of takes that whole, true blue American army brat thing with the whole Midwestern New Mexico type of setting, with the desert landscape, and it's like the stuff that was iconic about it back in the when the character first debuted back in the Silver Age, and he takes that love for the for that setting, and it makes it amazing. I mean, it's like it's not just my love for this type of Americana, but it's just so. It's so well structured. This story is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's what works about it for me is you just see how Hal Jordan just is a boy who wants to be his father in every single way in which you can think of it. He just wants to be his dad, and that's not something you see very often. I mean, most times when you see stories about children in relation to their fathers, and becoming adults, it's about not wanting to become that. You rarely see this positive light where I want to be my dad.
Yeah.
And that's really what this is. And it's so damn romanticized. It just romanticizes what it is to fly in a way that not a lot of things did. A while back, I did when I was first starting out on YouTube, I wanted to do audio comics, whatever those are called, where you just put the panels and then you have voice actors and music and stuff. I was wanting to do that when I first started on YouTube, and I actually did Green Lantern Flight. It got taken down due to copyright. But right at the end here, where Kyle's learning what it means to fly, and finally learns to fly is the line. When Kyle's learning to fly, I actually used the Pink Floyd song Learning to Fly by David Gilmour as the outro and the credits and stuff, and it really does work. It's just, there are very few things that capture that feeling, I think. It's just that joy, that insanity of, oh my god.
Dude, I completely agree with you. Do you still have that file? The way you describe it just makes me want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of shitty editing, because I've gotten significantly better. That was before I even made the movie, and I've gotten significantly better since I made the movie. It's on Vimeo, Green Lantern Flight. You can check it out on there if anyone's interested. I'll see if I can find a link to it and put it in the description.
But the way you were talking about it, it's just this story seems like it really hits hard with the whole father thing, and just
it really does. It this one just works for me. I'd read when I started out reading Green Lantern. The guy in the comic shop gave me Green Lantern Rebirth. I'm like, all right, it's okay. I guess I'll read some more. And then No Fear was the second trade, so I picked it up, and it's this story that made me fall in love with Green Lantern, not Green Lantern Rebirth.
Interesting.
This Green Lantern Flight is what made me fall in love with the character just instantly, because it's hard to describe. It's not only a cool concept. I mean, Green Lantern Rebirth proved that it's a really cool concept that you can have a lot of fun with, but as far as just Hal Jordan on a character level, it was just holy shit, this guy is so damn complex and so interesting. There's so much there, and it's developed throughout the rest of No Fear in a really interesting way, and I really enjoy No Fear. It's, the first three books, Secret Origin, Rebirth, and No Fear are really all you need, I think, to get into Green Lantern. What would you say?
Definitely. I mean, I fell in love with this character. You all the time sort of talking to me about how great this book was and how great the character was, and I had the basic idea of Green Lantern, and he always seemed cool to me, but I never I always wanted to get into the comics. I always saw the trades, but I didn't really know where to start. And then I started, reading the stuff you recommended to me, and I've become a fan. But there's this one scene where I really like. It's mirrored all the way through the story. But Hal's mother, essentially Hal keeps running away from school to watch his dad fly the planes. He just keeps jumping over the fence and sitting there eating his lunch as his dad playing. Yeah. And essentially, his mom tells him not to do that anymore, and everyone's all bummed out. And then one night, his dad wakes him up at 3 a.m. and says, "Come with me." And
Yeah.
and like I just love that scene where like that one panel where Hal's dad lifts up Hal and it's just
And
like
says, "You've never flown with me."
yeah, and just that is what every boy wants to every boy wants to have that moment with their father. So when they're like a middle-aged man themselves and their dad is on their deathbed, you just want to remember that that one scene that we had that. He may not have been perfect, but he's we had that.
Yeah, it's a really great story, and what I love about it is it's so called back to throughout the rest of the book, which we should start getting into. I mean, every scene, every flashback calls back to stuff that's set up there, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially yes. But I just love how it's so Kennedy. This whole one issue is just so. I guess it's because it's Brian Cook, but is it Brian Cook? You know who I'm
Darwin.
Darwin Cook. That's the one. It's so Darwin Cook. It has that sheer joy about it, and in that panel with Hal's hand touching the window, and it's just a silhouette of his hand touching the stars. Yeah. Like it's like some of this stuff is just like it's powerful. This is some good comic book stuff. I mean, people say, "Oh, there's nothing that comics can do." They always point to Watchmen and fucking V for Vendetta, and those are wonderful books. But like, whenever you try to give somebody like a normal comic, like, "Hey, pick up this," like, that's superhero shit. There's no real.
There's no content to that, and it's not true. You just got to find the right moments. Let's go ahead and start getting into No Fear in general. So, I mean, the basic plot of No Fear is obviously two story arcs. So the basic plot of the first story arc is that there's a manhunter that's being experimented on by the military in order to create a faster jet propulsion system. Mm-hmm. And a new manhunter is signaled and shows up to destroy it.
Yeah.
Which is really fucking cool. And then the second story arc...
Before we move on, just a quick little history lesson on the Manhunters. Essentially...
No, we already know about the Manhunters, Milan.
Oh, just to make sure the people who just happened to find this one video, so we know what the hell a Manhunter is. Essentially, they're robots that the Guardians of the Universe created before they came up with the Green Lantern Corps. They went crazy, they couldn't feel emotion, they started killing civilians, yada, yada, yada. And so the Green Lantern, the Guardians essentially decommissioned them and banished them or whatever, and started up with the Green Lantern Corps. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So anyway, so there's a Manhunter story, and then it gets into this alien body that's actually a super evolved human, which is like, I wish Johns would do a little bit more of this stuff because he's really good at it with this kind of like kooky sci-fi-ness left and right, just on Earth, like the super evolution and stuff like that. That's fun. And then there's this, and it's all related to these aliens that are experimenting on humans to try to sell them as biological weapons.
Yeah, these little goblin things. So,
little goblin and then, like, there's a fucking human shark and shit.
That's actually a character. That's King Shark, I believe his name is.
No, I don't think so. They just call it Shark, and he doesn't talk. Unless they took Shark here and made him into King Shark. I don't think so. But it's just such a cool idea of a super evolved shark that's like able to walk on land, and it can telepathically make you feel fear so that you get paralyzed with fear. That's so cool.
That is so cool. But you gotta think about, if this is not King Shark, how many anthropomorphic shark monsters are there out there in the sea of the DC universe? I mean,
right?
I mean, it's just like like it's so weird. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, there's this story so it goes from the Manhunter story to this story with these, which is so cool, to take gremlins and make them German-speaking aliens that experiment on people. There's that, and they're turning humans into biological weapons, which explains Hector Hammond, Shark, and William Hand, who are all classic Hal Jordan villains, rogues. So that's really cool. My major complaint about that is the last issue, the art style changes entirely. and it's so damn jarring.
You mean the issue where it's all like kind of sort of realistic and painted looking?
Yeah.
I didn't really mind that. I actually quite like the art style. It's like, wow, look at that giant.
It's not that it's not good. It's just that it's. I don't mind if you change artists on a book, but they should at least try to draw similarly. Because it's jarring to have such a dramatic change in the middle of a story, especially when you structure your book like this, where there are no, like, some trades, they'll put the covers in between the, like, chapters or issues, so you know it's a new chapter. But this, it just flows one page to the next. There's no difference, basically. I mean, you get the image of Black Hand in the hospital, and then it goes to the new art style. But, I mean, that image of Black Hand is just like is just its own page. It's not like, it doesn't say end or anything like that. It just goes into the next issue like a continuous story. And that just makes the art style change really jarring. Kind of gives you whiplash.
I didn't really have much of a problem with it. Maybe it's like at first I was like, this is weird. And then I saw that gigantic splash page with that enormous spaceship hovering above the battle cruiser. And I'm like, well, the ship,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Aircraft carrier.
Aircraft carrier, that's the one.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fucking cool. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not saying I don't like the art style. I'm saying that the ship really threw me.
It can be a bit jarring. I completely agree.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and start with the Manhunter story. What did you like about it? What bothered you about it?
One thing that I gotta say, I think this, I like the art. Like, I love Flight, the art of Flight. I think it was perfect for that issue. But as a long-going narrative story, like, I think the art was best in this Manhunter story, because it was just so clean and classically superhero-y. And
yeah, it does. It looks a lot more classic than a lot of the modern books do.
Yeah. And I love it. It's so colorful, and like, oh my goodness, it's just so epic. The guy knows how to draw action and the human body so well, and it's so clean and smooth. And when Hal and his younger brother were talking, when Hal and Jim were talking, essentially. Coast City is getting rebuilt because, long story short, nuclear bomb or supervillain blew it up, thus Parallax. But essentially, I love the fact that it's just, completely under construction, and essentially it's one giant dark ghost town, and Hal is essentially...
That's so cool. And it really does become kind of like a pseudo character, or not pseudo. It does become kind of like a miniature character throughout the early parts of John's run and up into Sinestro Corps War.
Oh yeah.
It becomes its own character in a certain sense, and I think I like Jim's character arc in this book a lot. He's this kid that really did become his mom, just constantly worried about safety to like the extreme, where he won't let his son play football or his or his younger son watch cartoons because they're too violent, and he's just obsessed with safety and controlling everything, and it's what makes him realize, I've got to go back to Coast City because I'm becoming my mother and abandoning my brother just like she did. It's really just, there's a lot of strong family dynamic put in with Hal Jordan to like make him different than a lot of other superheroes, because not many other superheroes have like a family life, or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like with everyone else, it's like, oh, my parents are have died horribly, yada yada yada, and like, or they don't really have. Well, I guess Superman has a type of a family relationship with Ma and Pa Kent.
Well, it depends on your version.
Yeah. If, now they're actually dead, but I'm not going to talk about Superman. But it's so. I love how American this is. Like, me being a foreigner, this I know I don't sound like it, but it's such a quintessentially American feeling book. The kind of America we get, as immigrants, like, come to America, the land where color exists.
Well, Milan, I hate to burst your bubble here, but in America, there usually are not giant UFOs hovering above aircraft carriers.
Really?
I'm sorry. No.
I was lied to. Bastards, a lot of them.
Death to America!
Death to America for crushing my dreams of an impossible future.
Right. No, I mean, I really like the Manhunter story just overall, more because of the character stuff. I mean, Manhunters are hit and miss for me. Sometimes they're cool, sometimes they're not. I like the way the story opens with Hal and his friend, his wingman, playing,
cards.
What is it? Yeah, some kind of cards, poker or whatever. Playing poker in the air. That's so cool. And then you get a little bit of Hal's life and him trying to reestablish himself, which is interesting. And then you get like that cool scene in space with Jon Stewart, and that's fun. It's a little, I don't love the way it's written. It comes off a little exposition, but whatever.
Not really. I mean, I didn't really think it was too exposition-y because,
come on.
They were like...
Come on, listen to this. I've been asleep at the wheel, going through the motions. I stopped questioning everything, but the universe needs someone to question it. Come on, that's a little exposition.
I don't know. It just, like, not really. It just seems like they just seem like two cops on the beat.
I guess. I don't know. It feels... It's not the worst exposition I've ever seen, but it's a little to me.
Well, I like when the cowgirl is introduced.
That was cool.
She's like, he goes like, thanks for the save, superhero, and he goes like, yellow, and then you see a panel of Hal, and he's smiling to himself. It's like, my only weakness,
right?
And it's this cute blonde, Southern gal who's also a pilot, which is doubly as sexy. A competent woman with a career I like. She can support me and buy me weed.
And I like that they're like, what's the word I want? Their competitors are, they're setting up that they're competitors with that scene toward the end of the book with, the pseudo Commissioner Gordon telling Hal about these cases that he needs him on.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess that's a clever way to do it, but I'm glad that character doesn't really stick around very long.
Who like the sergeant?
Yeah, the general or whatever he is.
Oh, yeah. For a while there, I didn't get why Hal was such a dick to him, because he seemed like a rather reasonable pal of his dad's. Hal was being a dick, and you're like why? I mean, can't you? He apologizes at the end that they become friends and allies and whatever. But it's just like, Hal, you're a bit of a dick to this guy who was pretty cool to you and took your bullshit with a smile. Well, not a smile, but it's like, yeah, Hal, you dick.
Yeah, I think it's just projecting because of what was going on with his mom at the time. Yeah. There's one page that I really like that just calls into question the themes of like what it means to be a Green Lantern and stuff that I'm going to read out loud really quick because it's fairly short. This might have been a mistake, all of it. That Manhunter's last words are still stuck in my head. It lived for over 3 billion years and it never felt a damn shred of emotion, and then in its last moment of existence it finally figures one out. I look around today at the way we live. We're arming security systems, putting metal detectors in schools, and looking over our shoulders on airplanes. The news shouts, tonight at 11, find out which major drug company could make you sick. Is this the life I'm coming back to? Is this the strongest emotion in the universe? Is fear what controls everyone and everything?
And then...
Yeah, I didn't think so. And then his brother moves into town.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that. I'm like that is some sweet fucking shit right there. That is like some heartfelt stuff right there.
Yeah, I mean, I just really enjoy it because it really makes you think about, like, the old line from Green Lantern is always, will, the strongest force in the universe. I'm like, well, is it? I mean, and that's what makes fear's emotional spectrum that Johns introduces so interesting, is these are all things that every single person feels every single entity can be said to feel in some way or another. And just which one is more useful, or is one more powerful, quote-unquote, than the other. It's a really interesting idea, and it sounds... That's the thing about the Johns run. Dude, when I explain it to people, just bare bones, it sounds fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, you should read Green Lantern. Why? Because he's introducing red lanterns and blue lanterns and purple lanterns and stuff. It's really awesome. Yeah, how about no?
I know, but you read it like me. I'm the type of person you can explain anything to me. Like, there's a bunny with a machine gun that hunts Nazis. I'm like, that sounds so intellectually engaging. Awesome. Like, there is nothing you can tell me that sounds stupid or ridiculous. I'm like, let me see it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the book goes on. We get this, like, tease at the end of the Manhunter story about, like, what they're up to. Oh, wait, just going back just a little bit. I love when Hal jumps out of a fucking plane with no idea what he's gonna do on the way down.
Yeah.
He just grabs the Manhunter and, like, starts doing the oath.
Yeah,
Really
it grabs its severed head and shoves his ring, because the Manhunter's head is actually a battery. Like a power battery. And I love this giant splash page. He grabs it, he puts his ring in its skull, and goes like, his whole fall, he goes like in brightest day.
In brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evils might beware my power. Green Lantern's like, like, I'm just wondering, like, if you were a member of the Corps, like, if you're getting trained by Kilowog, I'm pretty sure they have to teach you to say the oath really fast, because there are so many situations in which you're about to run out of power and you need to recharge quickly.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I love that splash page where he does it, and there's like a gigantic freaking what is it? Oh no, it's like it's a plane falling down in flames behind him, and it's just such a classic panel. It's so
cool.
It's so clean. It's so clean and pretty looking. And then he can't get rid of the old Manhunter is essentially gonna be detonated. He's self-destructing, and it's gonna die, and it's gonna take out the whole city again, because it's once a Manhunter dies, it's like a nuke exploding, and he flies up into into space, and the Manhunter it sees Mars, and it's like, what is that? My programming is failing. It becomes
the Manhunter feels. That's what's really interesting. The Manhunter begins to feel fear.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating idea, and it gets really intriguing.
Yeah.
And as I said, the story ends with a tease for a villain that will come up later, which I won't spoil in this video, but we'll get to eventually.
Yeah.
But I think that comes up in Sinestro War, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm probably wrong. Or it might be in the Green Lantern core book. Because that's what's being teased next to that with all the, like, with Tomar, Rue, and all the other lanterns.
I love the fact that anyway, I love the fact that, I think I'm echoing.
Sorry?
Okay, never mind. I think I love the part where the Manhunter asks what's next. And I'm like, nothing for you, because you're a robot. just if there was a Russian Green Lantern, it's like, nothing. There is no God, especially for
Nothing. The universe is meaningless. I don't even know why I bother protecting it.
It's like, it is cold, and you will get nothing. And there's there's a tiny tear going down the Manhunter's face, and then the Russian Green Lantern grabs its face and licks the tear.
Yes, sustenance. Okay. Let's go on to the next story. This one's all about the evolutionary gremlins, or whatever you want to call them, which is, I mean, you were talking about it last video. You wanted giant head Hector Hammond. Well, there you go.
But seriously,
were you pleased?
I was very pleased. I loved the end of the Manhunter stuff. Very subtle, the whole Manhunter dying thing was really sad. But one more second before we move on. Who is that blue guy that is not a Green Lantern?
Which blue guy?
Essentially, all the veteran Green Lanterns are all hanging like marionettes, while the bad guy is saying, "We're gonna do something evil, ha ha ha."
Hold on. Where's the page at, Ian? There we go. Oh, him in the middle? Yeah. No, he's a Green Lantern.
Is he? Oh.
Pretty sure.
Okay, then never mind. But yeah, I mean, I love the fact that they run over an alien, and his dying words is just like, I just went out for a cigarette, and then he died.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm really interested in, I gotta look up on Geoff Johns' history and see if, like, he or some of his family were in the military, because he just writes, like, guys, you know, military guys just being guys so well.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because this whole, you know, military guy getting poontang all the time thing, it's so funny because it's true. I mean, like, it's so funny because it's just like, yes, the military guys do get poontang. They're like, hey, I'm a man in uniform. Come behind the bar. You know, we'll do it behind a dumpster. Something like it's fun. Like you're wondering if the Green Lanterns get a lot of poontang too.
Yeah, and then we go to Oa with Kilowog and Hal talking about the Corps getting started up again. Which is, I mean, if we were reading the Green Lantern Corps book, we'd read Green Lantern Recharge in between these two stories.
Yeah.
But
I love how like all the new recruits are talking shit about Jordan. They're like, oh, I hear they never leave their home planet. They're born there and they're buried there. Totally backwater star system. Hey, I wonder if he can speak. Is it true, Kilowog? Is that Green Lantern an Earthman? And Kilowog just points to Jordan and says, worse. He's an American. And I'm like, ha ha! Even the space races hate the Americans. I feel good.
Weren't you just talking about how much you love, like, Americana and stuff? I'm so confused.
I do. And, like, Russia's nothing to write home about. Yeah.
Then we get, like, the cool Kilowog fighting Hal Jordan thing getting interrupted by Hector Hammond. How happy were you about Hector Hammond's gigantic face?
I love the fact that he's so fucking creepy. He's like that creepy fan that we will never have on the Geeky Gentleman, that will just follows, like, yeah, I think I wanna have your memories. I'm your biggest friend. I'm your biggest fan. I'm like, that is so creepy. I love it.
Yeah, I really love the end of the story where Hal Jordan creates the giant construct to catch the UFO of the pilot, and Hector Hammond just goes, Hal Jordan, my hero.
And that is so weird but it makes this creepy kind of sense why Hector Hammond wants to be Jordan, because he's stuck in the basement, can't even move, can't even poop, can't do nothing, just this big-headed freak without can't do anything. And he's like, I want your memories. I want to know what it feels like to touch a woman. I like redheads. Let me take that's his bargaining chip. When Jordan comes down to get the information, and that's such a creepy scene because he's going down the staircase. Let me just find the panel.
Yeah, where he's walking down the stairs.
And like Hector
like getting ready.
Yeah, he's talking to him something. He's like, he's here. Like Hal hears it in his head. Like, oh yes, he did come.
And then we get my favorite little art kick in there in this scene a lot with the symbol projected from the chest. Oh, I love that.
Oh yeah. And it's so cool because Hector Hammond's like, this will be delightful. Yes, a delightful day to be certain. Like, and he's just such a creepy motherfucker.
Yep.
And he like.
I mean, I just like, it's such a cool idea for like not like a super villain, just like a creepy fucking dude. I want your memories. Like, you gotta give the actor in the movie credit. I forget his name off the top of my head, but that one scene where he gets Amanda Waller's memories, and he's like, I can see your memories.
The motherfucker has a plaque in front of his goddamn cell. I love the fact because essentially in Green Lantern Origins, you see it, and it's essentially the whole place is packed up with prisoners, and they just bring them in. And now the whole place is abandoned, and they put a plaque there to say, yep, that's Hector Hammond. Nobody comes down to the basement anymore. He'll make you. He's like, don't come down. Like,
don't go down there. He'll erase your mind.
Yeah. I love how fucking creepy he looks. He's just like a big-headed guy. And
you know, if you wanted to treat PTSD, you could give soldiers with PTSD or people with PTSD to Hector Hammond. You know, you got to start all over. You got to teach him how to shit on the potty again. But you know, okay, bad joke. I give up.
That was dark, dude.
Yeah, but it was funny to me, and you were supposed to enable my laughing.
I get it now. Haha, these soldiers with horrible psychological scars getting reduced to the form of children by big-headed monster men in prison.
Yeah, exactly. No, the one scene in the Hector Hammond thing that I think is kind of like, it's cool, but I don't know if it's Hal Jordan, is when he reaches into his brain and he turns on the pain receptors again. Because I'm like, it's awesome that it's a really cool use of the ring. I just don't know if Hal Jordan would think of it, mostly because I'm not sure he knows these words.
But you know, I know he's in the Flight Corps. He's got to be a smart motherfucker. Sure, he's a fly boy, but still, I mean, he at this point he's been part of the Justice League, and he's seen some shit. And you don't hang around like smart motherfuckers without picking up a thing or two. I mean,
yeah, I mean, fair enough. It's just, I don't know, like it. There's a character in the GLC book who's a doctor that gets the ring, and I could see like them doing that. I just don't know if I buy Jordan doing it. That's a small complaint, and I think it's a really cool scene.
Oh, yeah.
I don't love that he basically just becomes, Bruce Timm Batman toward the end of it, but,
Bruce Timm Batman? What do you mean Bruce Timm Batman?
Well, I mean, look at it goes all silhouette art style.
Oh, yeah, the eyes.
With, like, the little eyes and stuff. I'm like, that's so Bruce Timm.
Yeah, he pulls a Batman. Green Lantern pulls a Batman. Everyone, at some point, pulls a Batman. I mean, Superman with his face and shadow, red glowy eye thing he does. Everyone does a Batman. Everyone. And it's fun to see when Batman does something like, he pulls a Green Lantern and is not a mean bastard.
I don't know. Just it's a cool scene, but I just those two little things jump out at me. And then we get Jaws on land.
Oh, yeah. That is terrifying. The woman's like, "I'm safe," and she turns around and there's a giant shark with a head in its mouth. I'm like, holy fuck! I love how big the Shark Man is. It's just like when you see the size comparison. That's the thing. The size comparison is a little off there. Essentially, like, just how fucking enormous the motherfucker looks when he's trying to destroy Hal's, the first splash page we see of him trying to fight Green Lantern while Green Lantern's in this glowy shark cage thingamabob. And it's that if you kept him that size, that would be awesome, because that is a tall motherfucker. That is big. But I love how, like, the size comparison in some of these issues, just how, like, that scene, the interrogation scene where Hector Hammond's head is on its side, and you see how actually big it is compared to Jordan. And
where he's like lifting up his eyelid or whatever.
I love that. It's so creepy because his eye is the size of a fucking basketball, and that's so creepy, so fucking creepy.
Yeah, we get the human shark, and like it all leads up to these gremlins. Oh, William Hand being there was really cool. Setting up Black Hand again, which is really awesome. Such a creepy fucker.
Oh yeah, I've researched Black Hand a bit, and apparently he was like the sad villain of Jordan's like group. Like, oh, he's a guy with a gun that has a death thing, and like, oh, whatever. And now he's like, I'm gonna go and kill folk in the hospital because death.
Yeah, I mean, that was creepy as shit, wasn't it? He gets that, like, power where he can get his hand back as long as he touches something because it, like, drains the life out of stuff. And it's just, like, so fucking creepy looking and shit.
It's pink, man. That's the thing. I love comics. They can make a pink, veiny hand look scary instead of sexually appealing.
Okay, anyway, that was strange. I love that last page of that issue with Black Hand's hand being all the way back and all the dead people and behind him in the hospital.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, you'll do too, you'll do fine as well. And he's just going down the hall and just randomly killing people. And he doesn't,
Yeah.
he isn't even touching. It's like the fucking plague. He passes them by, and all the...
No, I think that they didn't want to show it, because that would have probably been just a little too dramatic.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, you do see it when he passes one person. Like, you know, he passes her by, and she's essentially a skeleton. Like, there's a wizened
Yeah, I'm not
corpse.
sure if I'm not sure if he passes her, or if the idea is that he went in there and then touched her and then left again. Like I said, I just don't think that they're showing it, but it could be that he's passing him. I'm just saying, with that scene with him beforehand at the beginning of the issue in the forest, with everything he touches dies.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're implying that he just touched them and then like walked away.
Mm. I love the final when we finally, you know, leave Hector Hammond in the prison. He goes like, I just want to be a part of it. Oh hell, I want to be you. Darkness. Fuck. Like I am a creepy fuck that likes the idea of me hunting down my lovers and wearing their skin, but this is like, that is a man with a brain that does things. Scary.
Yeah.
Mm.
They set Hammond up to be a big villain again at the end of this, and they just, from what I remember, he doesn't get used again. Like, he comes back every so often to just be creepy or whatever, and I think he's better at that than being, like, a threat.
Doesn't he get, like, the orange power ring or the yellow one? I don't know. And
Yeah, but that's way, way down the line.
That's in the New 52, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Why does Black Hand have these weird glowy orange eyes?
Artist chose to do it that way, I think.
It looks fucking demented, though. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, he really does. No, I like the story of, like, all these, like, B-level villains of Hal Jordan's just showing up and being, you know, really, really fucking cool and creepy.
Yeah. The art in this book, I think it's the same guy who did Green Lantern Rebirth, and basically that one gigantic panel as Hal dives into the water with all the sharks about him, and the light from the lantern logo he has on his chest. It's just some beautiful art. So freaking.
Oh yeah, I mean it's brilliant. There's not a page of this that I don't like. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, after there's that one panel where in Flight where Carol's eyes are a bit off, but otherwise, I mean, I love the proportions and just how everything looks in this book.
Yeah, but when I love it's so creepy because on the plane Black Hand has with those weird, wonky, scary man eyes, but he's a normal dude, and then he wakes up in the field with the dead flowers about him. His face is all wizened and fucking veiny and corpse looking. I'm like, that is fucked up. What is more scary than a man with veins on his face?
I really don't know. Good question. All right. You got anything else you want to mention? Because we need to wrap up here.
I love the fight with the shark, and
yeah, me too. It's really cool.
I love how the little goblin things are just messing around in Hector Hammond's open skull, and they're putting pipes in there, and he's like, I told you to stop stepping on my brain. You're stepping on my part of the brain that makes my eyes work. I can't see anything, and it's that is fucking creepy. Just anything to do with live dissection just creeps me the fuck out. And
reasonably understood.
Yeah.
All right. I think there's nothing else I really want to mention. Most of the character stuff is at the end of the Manhunter arc, and then what's in the second story is all fun and cool. It only really sets up Black Hand for later on in the book, and that jarring art style kind of does... It's not too bad, but it does throw you if you're not ready for it.
No.
I really like all the flashbacks with Hal in that issue. It's really cool. I'm not sure why they're coming up just then, but it does work.
Yeah.
All right. So Milan, Green Lantern, No Fear, 5 scale. What do you give it?
I give it 5 out of. Well, let's see. 4 out of 5 facts. 4 out of 5 facts that German is actually an alien language passed on by aliens.
Right. I'll give it 4 out of 5 giant humanoid sharks. Because that's creepy. Giant humanoid telepathic sharks.
That's even worse. I can read
Right.
your mind as I'm eating you.
Right. Okay, everyone. So thank you for listening to this episode of Geeky Gentlemen. Off the top of my head, I do not know where we are going next. I'll put it in the description. I think it's Hal Jordan Wanted, but I don't know off the top of my head. I am sorry, but you will know soon enough, because it'll be there in the description for you to look at, and Milan, I'll tell you later. Alright, everyone, so thank you for listening. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
And I am the madman.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.
Da-da-da, da-da-da.